Hello on the Rockers in a galaxy far, far away with cast members from the hottest burlesque show around. The Empire strips back with performers and dancers Jazmine Gregory, Cassandra Merwood, and Jonas Suber Jr. with comedian and actor Charlie Wilson, and me, your sassy host with the sassy most. Raise a glass, let the drinks begin. It's on the rocks. Go into hyperspace.
Thank you for being
Boulevard.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord have mercy, buns and bows and pantyhose. On the Rocks podcast, a place where we're too glam to give a damn. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at On the Rocks On Air and on Facebook On the Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email, book me for a pride, wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care, I'll show up. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. Send us your comments, your guest requests, and your guest questions. The show's presented by Straw Hut Media. You can watch and or listen to our now over 386 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com for free. Yes. You can watch us on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire on the Out.TV app, Facebook Watch on GED Magazine, and I Love LGBTQ, streaming with pride on SVTV and on Channel 31 on the East Coast. Hello, East Coast. We proudly tape at UBM Go Studios, your one-stop place for podcasting. Let's get the show on the road. The Empire Strips Back has taken the globe by storm and has returned to Los Angeles for sold-out runs. The show is burlesque meets Star Wars meets comedy. It's been critically acclaimed, and fans have gone crazy, transporting audiences to a world of burlesque fantasy, of menacing and sexy dance, of dangerous seduction, of hilarious parody, and even the droids you're looking for. Your favorite characters are scantily clad, seriously sultry, and live on stage. The Empire Strips Back celebrates a resurgence of burlesque while delivering a fun and rowdy experience for fans of the art form, as well as the classic film series. It's truly unique, and I've seen so many shows in my time. It's dazzling. And today we are lucky to have some of the cast members. Please welcome Jazmine Gregory is currently going to school to get her degree in dance. She is trained in jazz, hip-hop, lyrical funk, umfandala, which I don't know what that is, but we're going to find out, and a barred apparatus dancer. She's also a teacher and mentor and works with groups of all ages. Please welcome Jazmine Gregory.
Come on.
Look at that hair, though. I mean, can we just give a moment to that hair? Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I do it myself.
Adding some flair to the role of Han Solo, Jonas Suber Jr. is an actor, dancer, and choreographer hailing from Texas. Yeehaw! He has worked with many recording artists, including Beyonce, Pharrell, The Weeknd, Janelle Monáe, and Katy Perry. He has been seen on TV and the big screen, including appearances in Disney's Black is King, Hulu's East Lost High, The Masked Singer, CW's All-American Homecoming, Ghostbusters, and more. Look at that body, yaddy, 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 yaddy. Please welcome Jonas Suber Jr. Cassandra Merwood hails from Down Under, Australia. She's a dancer, choreographer, movement director, and founder of Mission Stiletto. She's worked for major brands like Virgin, Eurovision, Sony Music, ABC, Squarespace, and more. She specializes in heels and commercial jazz and was actually part of the Australian production of The Empire Strips Back. Please welcome Cassandra.
Hey.
And last but certainly not least, funny man Charlie Wilson. He serves as the show's Lando Calrissian of sorts in the family, and the MC, keeping the audiences engaged. He has opened up for major headliners and has produced his own shows across the nation. He's also made appearances on The Wendy Williams Show. Yes, I have questions. He's lived in New York, LA, and Chicago, performing at such iconic venues like the Laugh Factory and the Comedy Store. He also served as the host and producer for Laugh After Dark's hit TV show. You can watch it on Amazon Prime and Tubi, and the podcast version of it on YouTube. He also plays a supporting role on Amazon Prime, Tubi's Dirty Cops LA. Please welcome Charlie Wilson. Pew pew. Okay, before we get to the nitty-gritty, because your careers couldn't be more different, and then to see you all unified on stage, and there's so much chemistry, and it comes all together. So we're going to talk about all your different careers. But before we get down to it, I want to know, what was your experience with, because we got some young ones in the house, what was your experience with Star Wars before auditioning for the show?
Well, for me, I come from a huge Star Wars family.
Okay.
Like, my uncle, he is like one of the biggest Star Wars people around, he would go every single weekend to see it in the theater. So that's where my love of Star Wars comes from. And then just seeing that the show was even a thing, it was like a no-brainer. I was like, I have to do this. There's no way. I mean, everybody on the cast knows, like, I auditioned so many times, and I was like, this show will not go on without me. I just kept showing up, and they were like, I guess we should let her in. But yeah, that's my experience.
Star Wars. That's the thing with the lightsabers, right?
Oh, my Lord.
There you go.
We have all the nerds throwing things at the camera right now.
I'm kidding. But I did not even know that I was auditioning for Star Wars.
What did you think it was?
It was a different job that I was auditioning for.
Okay.
So when the choreographer brought the job to me, I was like, oh, this actually sounds kind of fun. And I found out about the show a little more. But yeah, Star Wars, the actual movie.
Did you have to sit down and watch it?
I will get to that.
Oh,
yes,
so you gotta have
I will
Wow.
get to that. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Star Wars fans, but I do love Luke Skywalker and all the characters that go into, you know, my character Han Solo. I did do some research on him. So.
Okay. All right. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I didn't really know much about Star Wars before being in the show, and I obviously watched the show, and it's great that you can still connect with it that way. We were made to watch episode 4 when I first joined, so I have watched that. And yeah, that's my experience and connection to Star Wars. But definitely doing the show, you like get a love for it.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah, for me, you know, I've always been familiar with it. You know, I had my family members that were familiar, but I felt like it was a challenge when I got the role to host it because I was like, I got to go back and do some research. So I was like, Disney Plus, you know, smoked a little bit. Let's go. I'm binge watching all of the movies. So I started, but you know, you can watch it in chronological order or order release.
Yeah.
So I think I started with release order, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, and it's Lando. Like, you have that swagger. You have that energy. Like, you capture it so well in such a fun way. So I absolutely love that. But when you heard the idea that we're going to do Burlesque Star Wars, were you like, what the hell is this?
Oh,
I mean, it's such, like, like you think, oh. And then you go see it, and it's such an elevated experience. It's not like some silly little parody thing. It's an art piece. It's like a full Vegas show with the dance, the level of dance. It's not just, you know what I mean?
And until you come and see it, or someone tells you don't know really what to expect. You know, because burlesque, I feel like there's so many layers, you know, so what's the context? But the production value, it's great.
Yeah, that's what a lot of my friends said. The production value of it is really, really good. And even me personally, I was like, oh, wow. Like, y'all want me swinging on balls and shit?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and I feel like also just the way that the show is kept under wraps. Like, you have to go see it. Like, you just can't find it online. So even as dancers, like, I knew what the show was, but, like, I never got a chance to go see it before I was actually in the show. So it was, like, so interesting going. I mean, we got to see a video of the show once we got hired. But, like, we were hired on the job, and I was like, shit, I didn't know what I got myself into, but I'm so excited about it.
Oh, and for fans of Star Wars, like, every character is truly represented, even Jabba the Hutt. I mean, we see Darth Vader presented in a very different way, which I loved. But can you share with the audience what kind of roles you had? Because I saw it on... I saw it like the opening Thursday, and you started off the show, right?
Yeah, I was the opener on the Tauntaun.
On the Tauntaun, so there's a Tauntaun on stage.
It's pretty wild. So yeah, that's a great visual opener to start the show. And then I go into Jawas for a few numbers. I'm a Twi'lek, I'm a Jedi, Stormtrooper at some points, and also Akbar.
Yeah. And then little Missy here giving us a car wash.
Yeah, my first number is Land Speeder, and, you know, car wash, it's like, anybody who's seen Flashdance, I was like, I had to do this number at some point. I also do Greedo for 2 numbers, which is really fun. He's my whole heart and soul, and I have a lot of fun in that costume. Sometimes I'm an Emperor's officer. I also do Jedi on other nights, and then I do Stormtroopers and also Akbar. We, like, share half of our track.
When you get to switch roles here and there too, right? It's that much keep it fresh.
Oh, absolutely. It just keeps it like the show new and exciting each time, and especially like the audiences, we really bounce off their energy, so we really like count on that each show.
Well, the energy, I mean, people wouldn't stop cheering the whole time that we're there. And the whole atmosphere is built because there's like commercials that play before the show. It's a whole thing. Like I said, the show is stunning. It's skillfully put together. But I want to ask the women, it is very, very revealing. There's a lot of skin. And it's presented in a burlesque style, which we know, that's a classic style of dance that did show a lot of skin. But it can be very, very sexual. And I like how, Charlie, you start the show like, let's be respectful and all that. And I think the audience did. But did you have any trepidation in getting involved in something that was so revealing? Because not only are you doing these amazing dances, like full out professional, but you're showing it's dance a little bit.
Yeah, coming into the show back in 2020, I was definitely younger and I had reservations and I was like, but I wanted to push myself outside the comfort zone. And I think, like, especially with the host, like setting the tone, like don't be too outrageous to the women. It's definitely done in like a way where I feel empowered and I'm not just getting heckled at. It's done in a fun light through the mode of Star Wars.
Well, and it's so beautifully done. Like, it's so tastefully done. And you're very young.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm 22.
Oh my God, I remember those years.
I feel like the company does such a great job at making us feel like we're safe, and they really do value like our safety, the way we feel about it. Like cast members, they do such a great job. And then also, there's just no photos or videos, so it definitely was a really good space to enter into the burlesque scene to see how it made me feel. And then like I have so deeply fallen in love with burlesque as an art, and like I just never want to stop doing it, and I feel so much more comfortable. But yeah, just the way they've set it up, the way that they've had safety precautions for us has just made it a really easy entrance into this whole world and universe.
So the three of you coming from the world of dance, we know diversity is a really hot topic right now. And what I love to see in this, we have a Black Han Solo. We have different body types. We have Darth Vader, who's a little non-binary. There's this kind of energy. Can you talk about how the dance industry has changed? I know you're still very new, but can you talk about how the industry is changing towards being more diverse?
Yeah. It's definitely changing a lot more in the perspective of, I would say, body types. Like, because me personally, I've always been the all-American guy that looks like, just boy next door. But I have multiple other friends who are, a little thicker and, like, a little more curvy and stuff. And she actually dances for Lizzo. So it's like, even getting put into that lane, that's a broader term for all dancers around. So I think, yeah, in the bigger perspective, dance has become a lot more accepted by everyone. Just with even TikTok and little dances like that, everybody can do it. Everybody can be a part.
And it's funny you mentioned Lizzo. We had Sunday Fun Day in West Hollywood, and we were all talking about Lizzo because she's disappeared. Like, is she going to come back and she's going to be totally Ozempified? Like, is that what's going to happen? And but she's been like quiet and undercover. What's she up to?
I couldn't tell you. Hopefully she is, on the up and up ever since all of that. So that's what, yeah.
Talk about like diversity though, because you come from Australia, which is like a whole different type of culture too.
That's why I have so much love for this show, because I was in the industry. I looked a little bit different there, and I just wasn't like fitting into that box. And this was the first big production that like fully accepted what I looked like, my body type, how I danced, and I'll always have a special place in my heart for that. And especially that made me dive into the world of burlesque, and it's all about championing that and celebrating who you are, and that's why I love it so much.
And there is a sense of female empowerment.
For sure.
When we see the dance that you do and we see the characters that you're able to play, I mean, even playing, the Jedis, there's this real sense of empowerment. And I think it does take an audience back a little bit, because I think it's going to be this raucous type thing. And you find out right away when that tauntaun comes out, it's something different.
Yeah, especially in the commercial world, like we're usually dancing in groups, and like coming into this show, we all get a solo, so it's like, how are you going to own that stage and like captivate the audience the entire time and play to your strengths? And yeah, again, I'm obsessed.
Can you talk about Mission Stiletto?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, it's my little baby that I was doing a lot back home in Australia, and I found there was a lack of heels training back home, so I did all my study for it in America, doing a lot of dance training trips, and I came back and I felt like there was just a big gap in the market for mainly women, but all types of dancers, of like transitioning from commercial dance into a heel. And I'm very big on safe spaces, and I like to break it down in a way that it's very open for everyone to learn, and it's about yes, about the dance side, but more about, like finding your feminine, your confidence, feeling good in a heel. And yeah, it's my little baby. Thanks for asking about it.
Yeah, of course. And you've done heel work too.
Oh yeah, I've been doing heels since like even when I was in high school. Probably shouldn't have been, to be honest. Like I was a little young when I started heels, but it's fine. I was in the studio. I wasn't on stage with it. I was just in the studio. I love a good heel, but
same girl. I was doing it in high school too.
You got it.
Am I the only one at this table that was
The
not
club we
dancing
all
in heels?
fam.
Yet. Yeah.
Not yet. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's funny taking a piece of clothing like a high heel shoe, and it's not the most comfortable for women. And we talk about women being able to take that symbol over and make it their own. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, well, I think for me, the special thing about a heel is like I grew up. I just never thought I was like the sexy girl. Like I always got told like I have a really young face. Everybody's like you'll be on Disney, and I just never felt sexy. And stepping into a heel like gave me my own empowerment of my body, and like to be like, who fucking says? Like I watch me do this, and I did it, and here we are, and no one can tell me I'm not sexy. I mean, they can try, but I'm not going to listen to them.
I mean, I'm a little but that
I am too. It's okay.
Yes,
it's
girl,
okay.
yes. But that land speeder scene, I was like, did something move? Because it was so sexy. And it's just about this sexuality and sensuality. And the whole show, it doesn't have borders. So, like, we know a lot of the people there to see this sexy women. But then, Jonas, we have you come out and sexify Han Solo. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I really like about it. I like that I don't start taking clothes till the end of my number.
Yeah.
And then it's fun. It's silly. It's like I still get to play the character and be, not just like oh, look at me. I'm like sexy body rolling and stuff. I'm like, no, I'm actually giving a performance. I'm telling like a little story, and then you get the nakedness after that. So
I know. I almost got my eye poked out.
Yeah.
I was like, ow. But did you feel this pressure to kind of like butch it up a little bit? Because we know Han Solo is the swashbuckler. We know a lot of the guys were there to see the women, and then they see you dancing around. It's like, very attractive, but still, they're not there for that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really think about that because everybody can appreciate art. Everybody can appreciate bodies. Everybody can appreciate a great performance, whether you're into men or women. Like, it really doesn't matter to me. So I just want to give a good performance that everybody can be like, oh, damn, he did that. Yeah. Let me, round of applause. Like, that's what I want.
And as the show went on, I feel people's like insecurities just like went out the door. Whether you're into guys, girls, or everything in between, it just didn't matter because everybody was experiencing this art together. And I thought there was a power. And Charlie, you had a lot to do with that because you set the tone right at the beginning of the show. You had us laughing from the minute you came on stage till the minute the curtain fell. That's a lot of energy, though.
It is. That's why I took it in my house like a hermit crab.
Because you never know how the audience is going to be, and you have to keep that up. You have to keep the jokes coming. You have to be on your toes. You can't have like an off time of it.
No, for sure.
What is your pre-show ritual that gets you hyped up to be able to do this?
For me, it kind of starts at the house and just kind of, making sure I'm rested and reset because I know once it's game on that I've got to go out there and make sure that everybody knows what the mission is. It's like, we're going to have a fucking good time. Like, whatever else you got going on, we're all in here together. And you just heard how they spoke about feeling safe and this position of powers and this women empowerment. I've got to make sure that the audience understands what the goal and the mission is too. Like, yeah, I understand all of that, but none of that matters right now. You see the art, the beauty, and it's just great when everybody comes together and that energy just is electric. So I like being able to stir that up.
Be honest, do you ever wear the Lando outfit in the bedroom?
Maybe just the cape. Maybe just the cape. Maybe just the cape.
Just the cape. You heard that.
Now you got a mental image in her head.
I'm a visual.
She's like, get it out.
Dry clean.
Right. No, I actually got a lightsaber tattoo for the first time.
Oh,
too.
did you
Yeah,
really?
I did. We were
Tattoo
in DC
reveal.
for 8 weeks. So
Come on now.
Where's the tattoo? Yeah.
Well, if I told you, then that wouldn't make it any fun. No, I'm just kidding.
Tell us where it is,
my
Charlie.
first
We
leg
wanna
tattoo.
know.
My first leg tattoo, and it hurt like hell.
Leg up.
Yeah. I was like, just make it a half a lightsaber. Just stop. Ow. Just a half. A small lightsaber. Lightsaber mini.
Pain tolerance
Lightsaber
is low.
nunchuck. Stop. But yeah, it's been great. It's been great. Having a good time.
Each one of you brings such a different artistry to the show. What have been some of your biggest personal challenges in doing the show?
I can start there easily. Just because I've been in stand-up comedy for over a decade.
Yeah.
So I'm doing something that's not like in the realm of what a lot of my friends are doing. So when I catch up with comedians, Charlie, what have you been up to? They're, on the road. They're at the improvs. They're selling out here in theaters. Some of them are, South by Southwest, all this stuff. Yeah. Netflix is a joke. And there's a little part of me that has FOMO because I'm like, man, I'm out of that. But, I also get to brag about working with so many talented dancers, hit sold-out show. So I've kind of been in a little bit of a lane of my own that I've learned to embrace and just kind of take full control of and still just maximize the opportunity that I do have there. But
Well, I hate to say it, but like, how many entertainment people are coming to see the show? And you have the audience in the palm of your hand. I mean, all of us were just waiting for your next joke, like everything.
Exactly. And that's what puts things into perspective because, if I was in the comedy clubs, now you've seen 20 other comics that night. But at this show, you've seen me.
Yes.
And some incredible dancers that are not necessarily in the same thing. They're not competing for the same roles and opportunities I am necessarily. Everybody does everything in LA.
Yeah.
She might get booked as a comedian before me. Now she's got special. Like, Cassandra, what the hell? Where did this come from? She wasn't even trying.
It's those stilettos,
I'm in
I tell you.
Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
but no, you're right. So I do see the positive in that, and I've just learned to just live there and not focus on whatever else is going on, but just making the most of the opportunity and the platform that I do have. So
And it's nice to have a regular paycheck, too. You guys
That
have been going
part
from
too.
October
That
to
part
December
too.
1st.
That part too.
Your friends
That
are getting drink tickets, and that's about it, right?
That's true too. You're right. And they don't get to see the same beauty that I get to take part in every day. They're in the green room, smells like booty and Fritos. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's not a bad
And
thing.
I've got a bunch.
Two
of
of my
more.
favorite things, carbs and booty.
There we go. All right. Well, we have carbs and booty at our show too.
kinda-
We just also have
We
carbs and
do, we
beauty too.
definitely
We
do.
got beauty on.
Aw,
See that?
You're such a charmer. Are you single?
This took a turn, didn't it?
Quick
I am.
It's complicated.
It's complicated for sure, but I'm meeting people. I am dating right now, so I'm out.
Because here's the thing, you had all the women's panties like wet from your
Yeah,
jokes
yeah,
and all that.
yeah.
I can just imagine the messages you're getting.
Oh,
He's being all shy now. He's not a talker now, is he?
But you know what's funny about that is, there's some of that, but not as much as a lot of people may think because women are not as forward. They're not as aggressive. They're not as that way as maybe men were. I've got a friend of mine she's a host for Magic Mike. You know what I mean? So she's out there, she might get a lot more hit on, a lot more interaction. But most women, they don't shoot their shot like that. They'll sit back. They may like your photo. Hey, great job today. But they won't say much more after that. So it's like, all right, thanks. And then I get out of the way. So it's interesting, but, I've been meeting a lot of people. But
I'm sure.
yeah. Sound like
I'm
somebody who's in the
single.
streets, don't
Hey.
Hey.
And me and Cass both.
And you've got that accent too. That's just
Right?
like
No. I don't make fun of it. I have fallen in love with the Australian accent, and I just will always say.
You're welcome.
The Aussies.
But what's been a personal challenge for you for the show?
I think I've just moved to LA 2 months ago, but beforehand, just dealing with nomad life, just not having the stability of community. But I'm really grateful for what I do, so I wouldn't change the world. But yeah, sometimes it does get a little lonely on the road. For
People
sure.
don't realize it's like, yes, you do the show, but then you're so exhausted. It's not like you're hitting the clubs. It's not like you're making friends because you live in this temporary. You're like, well, I'm only going to be here for a couple more months.
and then we move
It's hard
cities,
to
yeah.
put down. And even though you're in a very tight cast, it's still a little lonely.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm gonna talk about the logistical aspect of it. So I am still a student at Cal State Long Beach.
I was going to say, how are you doing all of this?
That's wild.
That's a good question. I honestly don't know how I'm doing it. I started the show in May of this year, and I actually had to leave school a month early to be able to go. And luckily, my professors that I had, don't tell the chair of my department because she did not approve this, and I think she would be upset about it. Don't tell her. Don't tell her. She's not gonna. She's okay. Anyways, I had professors who were really, really helpful, and they let me go early. I mean, obviously, I had a bunch of work to make up and do before I even left. But I was able to make it out there, and it was such a great experience. But now being back, like, I'm in school now. So, like, Thursdays are the longest days of my life because I start class at 8:30 in the morning, and then I finish at 3:15. And as soon as I finish class, I drive, like, 90 minutes here to LA.
And that traffic during that time is brutal.
Listen, I don't...
It's awful.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't wait to move to LA. But, yeah, then I make my drive out here, and then we have a show, and then I finish at 9:30 at night, which is not that bad actually.
But the type of show you're doing, it's not like you're just like it's
It's a lot of
you're
energy.
putting it out
It
and
is.
out and
It
out.
is a lot of energy, and it definitely is one of those things. Like, there's been some nights where I'm like, it's we're finishing at 9:30, and I gotta go home, and I gotta go take a test after, and that's been really difficult. But I think the hardest part is just like being in these two different spaces. Like, nobody, at least at my school, no one's going there to learn how to do burlesque as a professional job. Like, everyone's learning how to get into a company, and like that's where their focus is. So it's definitely a space where I do have some supporters in the school where I'm at, but a lot of people just don't understand it. They don't get it. They don't value it. They don't think it's
a
as
little jealous
important
because
work.
you're doing the damn thing.
I mean, yes, I do think there's that, but I do think people, there are like those type of artists, which they're valid in their feelings, but they think it's less worthy to do burlesque as a form of art than it is to do contemporary, which I definitely don't agree with. I think, we make people happy and we have fun, and I think that's just important to put out into the world. But I think that's the hardest part for me, is dealing with those two worlds colliding.
But there's a deep history of burlesque. I mean, it's part of our culture. It's part of European culture. I mean, it's steeped in art and beauty. It's not just some TikTok dance.
I definitely agree, but I don't think everyone understands that.
Everybody doesn't. And back to like dating too. Like, if I'm on these apps and I swipe, oh, you're in LA, what do you do? I'm like, well. So I work on a burlesque show. They automatically, oh wow, that can throw people all the way back. You got to explain it. No, check it out. You got to, it's something to set up. But if you don't get it, then it's tough. You got to experience it.
Yeah.
But I love that you're sharing this. I think a lot of the younger generation, and now I feel so old just saying this, a lot of people come to LA and they're not willing to do the hustle. And they think that they're going to be a TikTok star overnight. They think that they don't have to hit the pavement or drive hours and then do whatever they can to survive. And you're showing that you have to sometimes
Yeah,
just do
I mean,
that.
when I say I literally auditioned for the show 3 times, like, I auditioned for the show 3 times, and I would not let them do it without me. I did everything in my willpower to get, like I said, I left school a month early just so I could do this. It takes time, it takes effort and energy, and if you want it, it'll come to you, is the biggest thing that I think I've learned from doing all this. And like, all the cast members are so amazing and so great and so supportive. Like, sometimes I get like burnt out and I'm like, I'm so tired and I don't know why I'm tired, and they look at me and they're like, well, you're in school.
Well, and like, you're dancing and your mind is probably like, oh god, I have to read this chapter and I have to do this, and
Don't even get me started on it.
Power to you.
Speaking of exhausting, like, we do typically, like, this is the best schedule we probably had
Yes.
on
Oh
the
my
show.
God, yeah.
But this is still, it's an exhausting show. But typically we do a show on Wednesday, a show on Thursday, 2 shows on Friday, 3 shows on Saturday, and then a matinee on Sunday.
No.
So it's a jam-packed week of every show being 100% energy and grind, and then to turn around and do that again twice or 3 times.
And it's over a 2-hour show, just for those that haven't seen it. But I mean, it's a packed show. It's not like, oh, there's downtime.
Yeah,
No.
I was gonna say, that's why I think I lucked out, because this is my first time doing the show with them.
Yeah, you did.
So,
You don't even know.
I don't
You
know that
got the
8
5
shows.
show
Yeah.
week.
Jonas be going around the dressing room like, oh, I'm tired. I'm like, you don't know. No. Wait till the schedule. We go
Wait
back
till
to
we
the
get to a
regular
new
schedule.
city.
Yeah, I'm just like, 15-minute drive from my house, and
No.
go down, park in the parking garage. Oh, I got 5 minutes.
Spoiled.
Oh, maybe I'll go get
See,
some Popeyes.
You gotta
Popeyes
start
is
in
my,
Detroit or
go-to.
something. You know
That's-
what I'm saying? Hollywood. The Hollywood is spoiled now.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for me is just trying to find the schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when I'm off, trying to like do things so that I can leave the weekends to perform and just focus on the show. But I think, for me, that's probably the hardest part about this job, and I love it.
Now, being in the middle of LA, being part of such a vibrant show, and I mean, fans are coming back to see the show over and over. It's hard to get a ticket sometimes. How do you maintain kind of the mental and emotional health, and how is the allure of like being in LA and being part of the nightlife? Because you have to take care of your body first and foremost, so you can't be going out getting crazy. But the allure is there. Oh, tell me the story.
You say you can't. She's like, I do it. I'm out all the time.
But like share that. How do you balance that out? Do you guys all go have crazy nights on the final?
Oh,
Well, I think because I'm new here, I'm like, let's go. And I drag some of the girls out. And
great.
like,
We love it.
We get to a new show week and I'm like, oh, maybe you shouldn't do that. But then we do it all over again because it's fun. Like, especially coming from Australia, like me living and driving into Hollywood for work is wild. So I'm like just trying to make the most of it for sure. But yeah. I drag out Jazzy Girl.
Yeah, no, I have been such a homebody before, and it's been really good to get out and just explore. And like, you know, the queer scene here is just, it's different and it's amazing and it's available. And I'm just trying to get into that world. And Cass has been so supportive. And I hate going places by myself because I am afraid.
Girl, I got you queer covered. I got you queer covered big time. Okay.
So I forced her to go out with me sometimes, and she's such a good supportive friend, and will always be down to go with me.
But to piggyback on that, in terms of like the energy we output, I'm a big advocate of like self-care, taking the time. Like for me, I have different rituals that help. Like I drink a lot of tea. Y'all know that. I have my teas, my lemons,
Every
my
day.
honey. I try to do like a good deep stretch every day if I can. Take 5 or 10 minutes at home, or if not before the show. And then like monthly, I'm gonna go get a massage. You know, if I can find a sauna, like all those kind of little things.
You have to do that self-care. Although in LA, be careful what kind of
I know.
massage you go to.
I know.
He's going into WeHo. He's like, oh, okay.
Be like, why are my shoulders still tense? I didn't get a massage. That's what happened.
You're like, but
I
my
gotta
brain
try
feels
again.
relaxed. That's for sure.
But Charlie, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
You know, in the comedy world, we haven't really talked about mental health until I think through the last decade.
Yeah.
Comedians like Robin Williams definitely brought it to the forefront.
100%.
And I know you have Good Grief with Charlie Wilson.
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
a platform where you talk about depression,
Yep.
you talk about grief. Can you talk about the duality of always having to be on and making everybody else laugh,
Yep.
and then there's that moment that you're like, okay, who's making me laugh?
100%.
So can you talk about that kind of duality?
There was like a joke or story that someone said that, you know, there's this guy who goes and meets with his therapist and he's depressed, and the therapist is like, hey, you know what? Why don't you go across the street? There's a great, you know, circus act, great show. Go out and entertain that, and you'll have a good time. That's what you need. You need to just go. And then at the end of the story, he's like, yeah, I'm the clown at the circus, you know, because that's kind of what we have to do as entertainers.
Yep.
We sacrifice ourselves, our time, our interest, because we have to be this person on stage so that what we're doing really gets across that message. Doesn't matter what we're going through or what we're carrying or what we've been through. All that matters is what happens and transcends on stage. So for me, Good Grief is that safe space. It's that outlet. It's that place to say, I know you're doing all these great things, but you're carrying a lot of weight too. You know, how are you managing all of this stuff with all of this weight that you've been carrying? And is that still working? And so maybe those conversations open up more doors for more people that, you know, are showing ways of how they're carrying this. But too often we don't talk about it. You know, we just carry it until sometimes that weight gets too heavy. And that's when we're drinking or we're excessively doing drugs, or unfortunately, you know, suicide is a real thing. So all this stuff is possibilities of not owning up to what you're actually carrying and sitting in. So for me, which I'm looking for, you know, the next space, a space to where I can have these sit downs, but it's so important. There's so much, like for me, I've been through loss. You know, I lost a child, you know, earlier in my life. So I got firsthand experience with grief. So for me, it's being able to take control of your story. It's being able to take control of that narrative and say, you know, I'm going to take all of what I've been through and still turn it into something beautiful. And this is how I'm doing it. And then that conversation continues to, you know, help and encourage others.
It's so interesting that grief is such a unifier. We've all experienced grief on some level, whether it's a deep loss or whether it's small personal losses, and depression.
Yeah.
It's something that unifies us. Doesn't matter gay, straight, old, young, rich, poor, but we still have such a problem talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing that
Definitely.
really brings us all together. It's so odd to me.
Yeah, especially artists, because we.
Yes, you're expected to. They
what do you
want to
have
see the
booked
brand.
next? Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you have next? Oh, this is why. Let's get a photo. Let's do this. And we're so just moving on, and then we go home and we wonder why we're depressed and miserable and sitting in a small space like this, not knowing how to move. It's because you're just carrying it. It's like, let it out, talk about it. So I'm very pro that.
And even in the sad space, then we have to post a funny picture on Instagram and hashtag it right. I mean, it's like, come on.
It's exhausting.
Jonas, I want to talk about being a dancer. How did you know you wanted to be a dancer? And we know being a male dancer is not the most popular thing to be as a boy.
Yeah, no, actually, I was just talking to my friend about this. How I'm from Texas, yeah. So,
Yeah. Well,
you know, that's very sports heavy: football, basketball,
Yep.
baseball, track, like.
And especially
you know,
as a black man, too. You're
Exactly.
supposed to do certain things, and that's all you're supposed to do.
Be strong, be
Yep.
dominant, be
Yep.
this, not a little frilly dancer or however you want
Oh,
to
honey,
put it.
you don't
It's
dance
like-
freely, though. I'll say it that much. Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it was just hard, and especially being a gay black man, it's like, okay, now I have to really try to overcompensate and be extra masculine and oh no, I really want to be in football and do this and play sports just so that I can like try to like give the perception that I am strong and I can be athletic and still be, you know, who I am. But I mean, I just love to dance from a young age. Like I just like the beat. I like the music. I was always dancing. I probably started like for real taking it seriously about 15 or 16. And then,
which is right in our puberty years, which are so awkward anyway, and then having to be comfortable with your body, and then having your peers be like, "Oh, you're doing dance."
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I was doing both. I was doing sports and I was doing dance.
Hold up, what?
Yeah, I was doing
sport.
both.
Then you go dance.
That's
some versatility right there.
Yeah, like
Wow.
go to football practice, go
Oh,
to
you're
basketball
versed?
practice, and very, very well.
Wow.
Very well, thank you.
That's right. That just seems like a lot at the same time because football is so demanding. You know, dance seems so demanding, and they're very different delicacies, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're all physical things also.
Yeah, it is. It's very. It's just being athletic and being multifaceted. Like I feel like I could be that person, and then I just, you know, when I was younger. Now that I look back, I wish I would have just owned it and just been like, you know, this is not what I want to do. I want to dance. I'm a full-time dance and just get into it and just be who I am because I probably would have inspired a lot more people around me to do the same thing. And yeah, but now I'm glad that I chose the path I did.
And football kind of conditions your body too, though. It teaches you endurance and it teaches you teamwork. And
Yeah.
Empire Strips Back is definitely a teamwork.
100%.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
100%.
Just to give Jonas his flowers too, while we're over here public, I think his Han Solo performance is probably one of the most like energetic, like dynamic, you know, Han Solos that we've had. Just so you know, you put the
Come on.
got the flip. I mean,
That
bro,
back
like,
tug,
you put in
that
work.
back
So
handspring
just
back
to
tug.
get-
Come on
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah,
That little
yeah.
Chewbacca business,
Yeah.
there was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's,
No, but definitely. And there's that first moment where it's like, oh, here's Han Solo, and then this black guy shows up. It's like, wait, what? That's
Right.
that's so against everything what we think of Star Wars.
Right.
And I think the audience thinks about it for a millisecond,
Yeah.
and then we're in this world and we believe it. We take it home.
That's what
There
I
was
like
some
about
Han
it.
Solo
own it so
fantasies
much.
going on.
Yeah.
And you are shifting now more into the acting part of it.
I am.
Is,
Yeah.
is that a hard shift?
It's not. I started taking acting classes in like 2017, on and off, and then I really probably during the pandemic is when I really was like, all right, well, I got time, so let me actually like push forward in this. And I booked a couple roles and things like that. So I think this helped me a lot because at the end of the show I had to do my like little callback, and it's like, okay, I'm getting prepared for whatever is to come next by being on stage, using a mic, and because dancers, we don't talk, we don't use our voices very much.
Yeah.
And when we do, even this, like talking, using our voices, kind of like nerve-wracking at first, but then it's like, we talk every day. Just do your job. Like, go out there and do.
I don't know how you do it after dancing though. Like you're a beast for that.
Well, and I don't want to give anything away, but the finale of the show is like the finale to end all finales. Everything you want is there, and like the song and everything. I mean, I was smiling like a big old idiot. I was like, this is so good.
Yes.
I hate for the people who step out or leave right before it goes. It's like you don't know.
You don't even know what you missed.
Yeah.
But isn't it weird as artists, things have changed where you can't just do one thing. You can't just be a great dancer and be good at it. Now we have to be good at social media. Now we have to be able to act. Now we have to be able to be on a podcast. Now we have to be able to do this. Sometimes we have to be able to Uber, work for Uber.
Oh, for
You know what I
sure.
mean?
Oh,
Like
yes.
these are all things that we have to do.
Oh, yeah.
And there's just so much pressure. It's like it's hard to just focus just on your art. And Jazmine, I know that you teach people of
Yes.
all ages. What are some of the biggest challenges facing our very young dancers that are getting into the industry?
Honestly, I think, there's two things. I think I hate social media for kids. I absolutely despise it.
It's so dangerous.
I don't agree with it. You can be mad at me if you want to, but I just think kids don't understand the dangers of the internet. Parents aren't good at teaching the dangers of the internet. And let's be honest, even if the kids don't have access to what they're actually posting, so many other people have access to looking at your kid. And I have just I personally know a student of mine who fell into the trap, was talking to a stranger. Like, it was bad. I don't agree with it. Please don't put your kid on the internet. Like, maybe a private page for friends and family, but you don't need it. You don't need a social media at like 7. You just don't. The second thing I would say is just there is so much available at your fingertips, and it's so easy to get into the world of I'm not good enough, I don't look like her. Like there's so much to watch, and I think it's really hard to get students to focus on like I want you to be inspired by that instead, because I see so many of them will be like, well, this girl is doing this amazing thing. And I'm like, yeah, honey, she's been dancing for 27 years. Also, just like you know, our bodies change differently. Some people are in touch with them sooner than others. It took me a really long time, but I still feel like I'm successful in my career and happy in my career. But yeah, it's just like it takes you time. Some people have better access. Some people have more money to just be able to see and go and do and live and breathe dance. There was a moment for me where I had to clean my studio so that I could afford to dance. And like that doesn't devalue my experience. It doesn't mean I'm going to have any less successful of a career. If anything, I think it taught me a special love for it that I think some people who are just gifted dance on a silver platter don't really understand. And I think that's, for me, mental health with dance. I always say I teach a lot of competition. I care not at all what place they get, because I'm like, did you do your best? Even if you got last place, but you did your best.
Just even getting on the stage.
Getting on the stage, and I'm like, did you have fun? If you walk off the stage crying, I wish you never went on the stage, because why would I wish that upon you?
Yeah.
Why would I wish that stress upon students? So I that is my biggest thing. Did I answer that question? I don't know. I went down a rabbit hole.
No. But I did get some questions, and I'm assuming these are from dancers. And the questions were really about body issues. Like we know the show is it celebrates the human body, and it celebrates the body in all forms and all different areas, and it's beautifully done. But as dancers, your body is first and foremost. And even, you know, on stage in front of the people are like, okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk about you as artist and how you work through certain body issues and how there's always that pressure? It's like, oh, I can't have Fritos and booty. I can have the booty, but not the Fritos because I'm going to be on
both,
stage.
Both.
Yeah.
Both. I can start that off and make it real quick. Like as a teenager, like I was a husky kid. You know, I was the kid that when you played basketball, it's like for whatever reason, somebody thought it was a good idea to say, "Hey, how about we be shirts and y'all be skins?" I was like, "This is stupid.
Oh my God!
Why are we doing this?"
I still have terrors from even just the thought of yes.
Right.
I know exactly.
So embarrassed, you know.
And I'd always be on the wrong team.
Yeah,
oh my God,
I was
yes.
like, no, y'all only need one more over there with the shirts. Let me put my shirt on, you know. So it was awkward for me. You know, people can be mean. So it wasn't until like my mid-20s, late 20s. So I moved from Texas to New York. When I first moved to New York, just the nature of the city, you're walking around a lot more. But I started to like shed and kind of take control of my body level. But I also had to become comfortable with just where I was at the moment. So embracing where you are right now, you got to relax your shoulders and kind of just feel good there. And continue to make progress, but continue to feel good right where you are right now. So I definitely kind of had some a little bit of depression, because in your early 20s, there's no reason to be built like a 44-year-old man. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, dad bod is called dad bod for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got no kids, but you got a body like a dad. What are you doing? But that was me, and it was tough, you know, because when it's time to go to the pool. When it's time to go to the pool and all your friends are always in their bathing suits and you're over there like, oh, shit, I got to take my shirt off. I got to do something. Everybody's getting in. So it was tough. But
you know the funniest thing is we're always harder on us. People would be like, oh, okay, you're a little chubby, and let's go swimming. But it's us and it's like, oh my God, everybody's looking. It's like, no, bitch, they're all looking. Calm down.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But finally, I've started taking better care of myself and being more aware of what I'm eating and trying to. I know I have a sweet tooth. I know I'm from Louisiana, so I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna have carbs. I'm gonna get Fritos and booty. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? So
that'll be your next comedy special, Fritos and booty.
Yes. I'm gonna have you open it up for me. Cracking up. All right, y'all. Fritos and booty. Make some noise. My boy, Charlie.
Hey.
As you eat Fritos, you gotta eat the Fritos. Though. Right.
Yeah.
Some chaps. I don't know. Everybody. All right, bad idea. You started it. This was your idea. But for sure, yeah, self-care, take care of yourself, and feel good right where you at. That's been big for me.
Yeah.
I think like being in a dressing room full of women, you can start to just automatically like compare. But I think especially being in the dance captain role, I have to like really check myself, and I don't want that type of energy. So I really try to make sure if someone starts to comment on their own body, I'm like, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
We're going to celebrate ourselves. And I do that as well, but it's really just like being a leader. Like we just can't have that energy in a show like this. We're always just like gassing each other up, because then it will just create like a better atmosphere for us all. But yeah, it's definitely normal and a thing, but it's just like checking yourself and be like, no, that is not serving me. What do I love about my body? And there's so much to love about every single one of us.
Yeah,
Well
piggybacking off of that, I just feel like, Cass is like she's just so amazing. I just feel like she really makes sure that we're all supporting ourselves and each other, and maybe she gets in her head a little bit, but she really does hold up the room. But I also feel like, specifically as a woman, obviously I can't speak to being a man because I am not one. Men, people don't tell you as much about your body, but as a woman, I think you grow up in a world where like people will tell you what they think about
Isn't
your
that the
body, how they
weirdest
think
thing?
about your body.
Yeah, men do have it easier. We see beautiful women with the most hideous men I've ever seen in my life, and they love it, and it makes them work for them, right?
Well, they gotta have money usually, so I'm like, I get it.
No broke man. No bad.
But even like growing up, we're taught Disney princesses look a certain way.
Yeah,
In
why do
horror
their
films,
waists look
the
so
heroines were
tiny?
always always. So I totally agree with you. Women have definitely a harder time.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about the show though is like oftentimes we're on the sides watching each other's numbers, gassing each other up. Like I've had days where I'm like, that is probably the worst I've ever done that number, which probably is still not bad because we've practiced a shit ton. But you just have days where you feel off and you feel bloated and whatever, and you had something happen in the morning and blah blah blah. But then you walk off stage and your friends are there and they're supporting you and everyone's in the same boat with you, and it's a really lovely space to be in.
Can I ask you something about your queer identity?
Yes, you can.
There's
about
the assumption that a male dancer, he must be gay because that's largely not always the truth. But as a queer woman, have you found any pushback? Has it been harder for you?
I think I exist in a lot of queer spaces. That's just where my heart lies. I am trying to exist in a lot of Black spaces, so I think there's like something inherently that they feel the struggle similarly. Individual people can be weird about it. Luckily, in my professional career, when I'm getting paid, I've never had the issue of people treating me differently, people saying weird things. But growing up and like being in a studio, I was publicly out in the 8th grade, and that's
so young.
Yeah, don't necessarily recommend it all the time. But there was definitely people who would be weird and didn't want to be around me and force me to kind of look in on myself. But I also just think like those people aren't for me, those spaces aren't for me. I've gone to classes where that is the energy of the room, and I'm like, that's not going to serve me. I don't want to work on this job with this person if that's the space that I'm going to be in. Like, I don't need that money. Like, I always just think, like, energy comes back around, and, like, none of that is worth it enough to me. It's going to come back in some way to bite me, either, like, in my own relationships, if it's going to mean I'm going to get tired and burnt out. I just don't want that. I won't surround myself with it, and I will walk out the door if I'm treated that way now.
Period.
Period.
But I'm on the opposite end. Like, when I don't work out and stuff, I shrink and I get skinny. And
Must be nice.
Skinny? Wow.
Oh,
You
no.
poor
I'm
boy.
either skinny or really
Wow, hear me
muscular.
out.
Yo, you be eating whatever you want to in the dressing room too, bro.
And I see your comments on Instagram too. It's like, it's like
No,
thirst trap.
Let me finish. Let me cook. No, because
I'm the only dad bod in the
whenever
dressing room.
you being a skinny man, and getting in this industry, especially whenever I moved out here at 19, 20, 21, I was very small and shriveled. Don't nobody want to see somebody like small and just not giving strong next to Mariah Carey or next to Mary J. Blige or Beyonce.
Well,
They
especially
don't
not
want
to
no
Mariah
kid.
Carey because we don't know where she's going to be. And she's like, I don't want skinny people anywhere near me. That's like
But I
what's
mean,
happening.
in the
Guys, she's
muscle-
defrosting
in the
right now.
muscular type of way.
She's coming.
We're moving out of Twilight era and into Mariah Carey zone.
But it is funny that you mentioned that because we've had models and actors on here before. It's like, Charlie, like you and I remember husky times in school, but there is the plight of also being too thin.
I am, and
can't
I'm
win.
short, so it's like I have to like
You're not
I have
short.
to compensate
Overcompensate,
somewhere.
yeah.
I have to overcompensate
crazy
somewhere
that you
because
think
I feel like a good average height for a male dancer is 5'11", 6 foot. You're just tall enough for the tallest female artist, and you're tall enough to match the male artist. So it's like that's the perfect kind of height. I'm 5'9", so it's like maybe I have to wear like a little kitten heel or kitten boot
Baby,
or something.
if you're short, I am.
Mission Stiletto.
But yeah, like that's where my kind of body dysmorphia comes from. It's like, well, dang, I gotta be in the gym. I gotta get bigger. I gotta like eat more so I can get heavier and so my chest can look bigger. And like, that's just where I'm at with it, and that's where I've been at.
Well, Harrison Ford wanted to send a desist letter because you looked so good as on screen. He's like, I don't look like that.
Well, I'm 31 now, so I feel like my
31.
grown,
You're
my,
You're looking
my-
yummy.
Yeah, my,
Gorgeous, right?
Love this for you.
my body is holding on to more calories now.
Doesn't
So-
look like it.
No, it
Okay,
doesn't.
all right.
That's another flex right there.
But even if it did, it would be okay, but it doesn't.
Well, thanks anyways.
Yes. Charlie, how did you find your sense of humor? How did you find that? Were you the class clown?
Certainly.
Did you get humor from your family? How did this?
My dad was one of those guys. I'm Charlie Wilson the third too.
Oh.
So my grandfather came from Charlie's. I was raised
In
in
Louisiana?
Shreveport, Louisiana, small town, country town. I was very different. My mom's from LA, but when her and my dad met, they moved to Louisiana together. They both worked hard, and they bought a house. We were the only blacks in this whole neighborhood. This is early 90s, late 80s. So it was different for me to try to feel comfortable with people who didn't necessarily look like me. And then when I did go to a school that was more blended with black, I spoke different. My best friend's name was Dylan. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, now my black friends, I'm trying to get to know, Tremario, okay. So it was because a meshing of the worlds. But comedy for me helped make that just kind of fluent for everybody. Comedy is a language that everybody speaks. They can hear, they can appreciate, they can respect. So for me, it started like our power would go out sometimes in Louisiana with weather.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to come up with this thing called family moment. So if power would go out, nothing's on, I'd be like, all right, y'all, it's time for a family moment. We get in front of the fireplace or the TV, and I'd be like, y'all, remember that time Mama take us out to dinner? And we'd be like, I want a Sprite. She'd be like, hell no, you getting some water? And we'd all laugh or whatever.
That's cute.
So,
Yeah,
but
I
I
love
never
that.
tied comedy to my lifestyle. I just knew one day I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be in Hollywood. But as I grew up and moved to Texas, I did like a theater production, a play, and like one of the producers did comedy. And he heard me kind of goofing off on stage one day. I was like, man, you should try this. So when I moved to New York, that seed was planted, and I was like, I don't know anybody in New York, even if I'm trash. Nobody knows me here. So I try to
Nothing to
everybody.
lose, everything to gain.
Because that comedy scene in New York is no joke.
No, it's not.
It's a club, like, to even get into that.
You have to do what's called bringer shows. So if they book you for a show at Broadway Comedy Club in New York, you had to bring at least 10 people with you to perform, or you didn't get no time. And I just moved here. I don't know 10 people. So I was on the train inviting people. I had flyers like, please.
That's
come
part
out
of that
for this.
hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this, I just stayed on from there, and then I started producing my own shows. Then I started hosting like live music showcases, and did that work with the Wendy Williams show, which was a blast. That was my first time on TV. So
We
it was
got
great.
a listener question about the Wendy Williams show. I think I know who this person is too. A regular entertainment correspondent,
Yeah.
and he wants to know what your experience was on the show because she's a little crazy.
Yeah, well, the good news, I can't even say the good news because that sounds like shade. But the interesting news is I didn't work directly with Wendy. I worked with her producers. So we did this, these street talk segments where we had a bit that I would cover. The holiday season is coming up, and I would kind of give some funny feedback on that. So I was very Wendy Williams adjacent, I would have liked to move into more audience warmer role and those kind of things, but it just didn't work out. But it was my first time receiving a check. I'll never forget. I took a photo of the check from the show, and I was so inspired.
Yeah.
And then I did so well where I was selling cars at the time because I still had a family support. I was selling Cadillacs in Queens. But they still were like, Charlie, maybe you can just write some stuff for us. And I was like, really? I was like, I can write out some material, some jokes, and they would use that, and I got paid. So New York was just inspiring for me, and it just gave me all the ammunition I needed to I'm going to keep figuring this out. So it was a great time.
Nice.
And you moved to LA, you moved to Chicago.
Yes.
Where do you call home?
I don't know. The next girl I end up meeting on one of these apps. I don't know. Is this home? Is this it? I don't know. No. So Louisiana is where my hometown is, of course. But yeah, nobody even knows where I'm from. Everybody's like, "Aren't you from Vegas?" I'm like, "No, I lived there for a couple of years."
You had a
Aren't you from
residency, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a crazy story. I'll make it quick, but I was living in LA for about 4 or 5 years from New York, right? And I got my first TV credit on Laugh After Dark. Well, the producers were impressed. We had a good chemistry. They were like, hey, we want to do a new season of Laugh After Dark, and we want you to host it. Would you be interested? And I was like, hell yeah. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to shoot this brand new season of Laugh After Dark, and we're sold out because we got 2 filming dates. But our film dates were March 17th, 2020. So,
Oh, no.
Damn.
literally that same week, we
Damn.
get the news, and hey, everybody was kind of temporary lockdown, so we waited a week and a half. Nothing ever happened. Of course, it would just never reopen. So we shot a podcast. I went to Vegas because Vegas opened up a little bit more than LA did at the time.
Yeah.
So I went out there to do a comedy show, and just on a fluke, I killed that comedy show. But my boy, Big Irish J, shout out to Irish J, invites me to this venue downtown Vegas to just do a guest spot. It's like 5 minutes, pop in kind of a thing. So I go do that and have a really great set. The owner happens to be there that night. And my producers on the show happen to come to support me. We're rolling together. And that led to, hey, where are you from? What are you doing? That led to a call. That led to a meeting. He basically allows us a residency inside his venue in Vegas.
Wow.
So we pivoted to Vegas and we shot a show called Laugh After Dark live in Las Vegas. Hosted by Charlie Wilson, featuring the Fremont Funk Bands. We had a live band. Absolute time of my life, and that was what I was doing before I got the call for the Empire. So it was a smooth transition that I could have asked for, because I was selling motorcycles, I sold timeshares, I was selling cars, I was doing everything
But
else.
like I said, as artists, sometimes we have to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And this story is great because it tells artists, like, sometimes you just have to say yes. You say yes because
Yes.
you never know what's going to happen.
And I moved to Chicago, and I'd never even been to Chicago with this show. I went to Chicago once, but they were like, we need a New York host and a Chicago host. I was like, I lived in New York. I don't know if I want to struggle like that again. Let me try Chicago. Let me try. So I went to Chicago. We did 8 weeks there, and we started touring from Chicago. So I'm grateful that I trusted the process, and it's great to talk about now, because I'm just now past the year mark, about a year and some months.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cassandra, I had the benefit of being able to interview cast members from Dance Life. They were students at Brent Street.
Brent Street, yeah.
Yeah. And it was such a different kind of conversation. And when I talk about the younger generations not hustling, going to Brent Street, you hustle.
Yes.
Or else you are literally left behind. Can you talk a little bit about how the dance environment is different in Australia than it is here in the States?
I think because it's such a small pocket of people and that you have to impress, it's very, very competitive. And I think like there's a mindset of you got to follow these steps in order to be successful. And my journey wasn't like that. So I think I still get in my head like, oh, am I successful? Am I not? Because I didn't take those certain steps. But I'm so glad that I didn't, because I've been able to do things that I never thought were possible. But it's very tiny back home. Everyone knows everyone for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonas,
Yes.
Work the World Tour.
Yes. Work the world.
I can't even imagine what that must have been like. What shenanigans were happening?
Oh. What happens on the bus stays on the bus. So
What?
Not on this show. Have another set. And you were like with Vanjie.
Vanjie, Jada, Georges.
So Vanjie's one of the most dangerous drag
Ganja.
queens to ever hang out with because.
Oh, because.
Well, you tell us,
Oh, I
Jonas.
thought you were letting us know a story.
You're the guest.
No, they're super fun, and their personalities are very much their personalities. Like, what you get on the show is what you get in real life. Like, they have their time to, we're chilling. We can all sit and talk like this. But when you get a bunch of gays around together and you get in a tour bubble and, people do get on each other's nerves. And, sometimes you just got to have a discussion and things like that. But for the most part, we had a good time. We would go out after the shows, especially if we were in a new city none of us have been in. And it was the best time of my life for sure. I was going through a breakup when I first booked it, so it like kind of took me away from LA, and I was like, oh, there's other people in the world, not just this one man.
Did you have a rebound drag queen? Be honest. You don't have
I
to say the name,
didn't.
but
No, I didn't. Almost, but no, I didn't. That's just, I don't shit where I eat.
Fair.
Period.
That's fair.
okay. So this brings me another question, and we got asked this question a few different ways. Even though you guys have such amazing chemistry on stage,
Here we go.
dancers are artists, comedians are artists, actors are artists. There's ego. There's fast changes you guys are doing. There's somebody got the solo this week, but then next week you're the team captain, so you kind of have to keep yourself a little separated, but you're still involved. What's happening backstage? Has there been any? Okay, already now I know there's. So you don't have to like say certain experiences, but like, how do you work through some of? We all have our diva moments. Backstage can be very difficult, especially in a high-paced show like this. audience claps a little bit more for one song, one segment, than the other night. You know. I love how everyone got real quiet.
No, honestly, this cast has been amazing. I've had issues with previous casts before, but I think they just did really well with grouping a bunch of really lovely people together.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I definitely think, I mean, obviously not everyone is meant for each other in like the best friends type of way, but I think this entire cast is really good at being like respectful, and like even if you know, I'm not your cup of tea completely, we're not going to be best friends, like that doesn't mean I don't respect you, that doesn't mean like I enjoy your presence, but I'm not going to go home and text you like 20 times a day. Like it is still work, but you know, we have fun. Honestly, our
room-
castmate, our room is
It's just like a sleepover every night.
we
Just
make a lot of
yapping.
TikToks.
Yeah.
I say random shit all the time. I call the other two mom and dad. I don't know.
Is that because you're 22 or?
Yeah. She's our baby.
I say I have ADHD, and I just randomly blurt out things. Like, I don't know. Should I share the tattoo story?
Yes.
I feel like I should.
I don't even know what it is, but yes.
I have the. I can't believe I'm sharing this on live. I have a tattoo behind my ear that says "Who says ... and like I randomly brought it up. Whatever.
We weren't talking about it at all.
We weren't talking about it at all. I just kind of forget I have it because I can't see it, and I saw it in the mirror, and I was like, oh shit, I have a tattoo, you guys. They were like, good to know. But in the sweetest, kindest way ever, and they were like, did you get that because of Selena Gomez? And I was like, no, but yes, but no. You know what I mean? Because she has a song. So we do group warm-ups sometimes, and I got to choose my song, and at the end, my roommates decided to put "Who Says" on as the last song, and they were like, "Do you know what song's gonna come up next? Do you know what's gonna come up next?" And I was like, "Why would I know? Like my songs are done. What do you mean?" And it starts playing, and I'm like, of course it does. But it's just like that kind of silly banter. Like, you know, I could take it really mean if I wanted to, but it's not that deep. They're just here having fun. It means that they actually paid attention to the stupid shit I said in the room. And, you know, it's fine. It's all good. We're here to have a good time, and then we're going to go home.
Yeah. It's kind of like brothers and sisters, at least for me. Like, everybody's become like my friend and like my sister, my brother. I'm just now, after like a 20-year relationship situation I had, I was married for a long time. I got married young. So now I'm kind of back into the dating scene. I'm nervous. I'm scared. So they all give me advice. Charlie, you text her
Don't
right
do
back.
that.
That's too soon. No. Charlie, no, you opening the door for her? Oh, don't know. I was like, they're not so chivalry no more. She's going to like you. You said you were looking for things serious.
He
So I'm
can't
trying
win with
to
us.
navigate all of it. Yeah. So I come in there and get some advice from them sometimes, and they help point me in the right direction. So it's helpful. It's a good camaraderie, I think. Yeah.
But as dance captain, sometimes you have to take a step back because you're in a higher.
I
role.
know about everything, but I don't want to know. Like only if it's like it becomes a major issue, and then I have to address it. But honestly, it's been a dream this run. We love. I don't want to jinx it. But yeah.
Well, and you can just feel this energy from stage. You know, as an audience
yay.
member, you're just like, yeah.
Love that.
So.
Because like at the end of the day, it's not that deep. We're all dancing in like these alien costumes, like.
Yeah, that is.
But you make it look so good. So my favorite was the red guards.
Oh, yeah.
It
Imperial
was just
Guards,
so
yeah.
sexy, and it's so streamlined, and it's so well done.
Visually
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Real fast, so let's finish up. What's your favorite personal moment on stage during the show?
I'm gonna go first. I
Go
love the
last.
Jedi when it goes red. That's just a moment.
So, I brought
sorry,
I brought my
spoiler
friend.
alert. Am I meant to say-
No. I brought him.
Okay.
Look at his shirt. No, he's a huge Star Trek fan. He, I think, wet his
Star Trek
pants.
fan?
Or Star Wars.
Wow.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
I'm the Star Trek fan. I think he literally wet his pants when it went red, and the whole audience too was like,
It's
Yeah.
a moment.
It's-
yeah,
I
it's a
love
really
doing it.
good
I feel
moment.
really powerful.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes,
Yeah, yeah,
bitch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
And as they should, because twirling that saber is difficult.
yeah,
Period.
yeah.
For me, I think I enjoy all of the acts. They're all just kind of unique in their own way. But there's one act that just kind of gives me chills and kind of gets me fired up every time I see it. And it's like between the Stormtroopers and then, of course, the finale is awesome. But the Stormtroopers, I get to like just watch and just kind of, it makes me feel proud. I'm watching my sisters just shine and they're doing their thing and everybody's confident. And it's a beautiful act to see. So Troopers and then the finale, we all are like family out there now. Like, yeah, you just
That
came to our
finale is
house.
something else.
You just spent a good time here for a little while. We're going to go and take y'all out like this. So Yeah, those are my two favorites for sure.
Now, the dancers know that you're single. Have any tried to ask you out?
Wait, really?
You know what's crazy is like
He paused. God, I know people so well. He was like,
I don't know. Don't miss business and pleasure.
on this particular cast, no. Nobody
This
has
particular
said-
cast.
Interesting.
No, but again, back to my first point. Most women are not that forward. They're not that aggressive. They're not that aggressive. They don't necessarily shoot their shot like that. They may be like, I like your shirt, and then they'll go walk around in the dressing room. I'm like, all right, cool.
That's because we like your shirt.
I'm not exactly. That's why I never take the bait. I don't see it as flirty. You gotta
Because
write
it's
it
not.
out,
I like
clip
your
of
shirt.
it.
I'm going to tell you
but
I like
here's
your
also
shirt.
the thing. Like,
So I'm not crossing those lines.
But you have such a big personality too, and that could be a little intimidating too.
Yeah.
Like I have to be as funny as you. Like all that kind of
Dancers have
stuff.
big personalities.
Yeah, I think they all do. They really do.
Like,
Dancers have big personalities, so it's none of that. If a woman is not showing me, I'm feeling you, I'm kind of interested, then I don't see it as there. Or I just see it as that's just like my sister. It's just a compliment. She's just being nice. I'm not taking the hints. So I just going about my way. Unless there's somebody who was like, wow, you seem really, really cool. Now I'm interested. I'm going to kind of cross that line. Let's go get some coffee. Or let's go. You seem cool. So I try not to overanalyze it.
Oh, the straights.
Straight people are so interesting. You're like a little study.
Funny thing, as a gay man, if somebody gives you a napkin, oh, they're so into me. We're married. Like we're moving in. We're gonna hook up. Like, and it's none of that.
Because the last thing I want
lesbians are
to
the
hear,
U-haulers.
is, oh my God,
Lesbians
the
are
host,
U-haulers.
Charlie wouldn't stop hitting me, hitting on me. It's like I don't want to hear any of that stuff. So I'm chilling. I'm good.
Your personal favorite moment on stage?
Okay, I'm gonna choose two because I can't not choose two. So Land Speeder, one of my favorite.
That is so beautifully done.
I love Flashdance as a movie. Like honestly, every single number in the show, I would be head over heels in
You
love
weren't born
with.
when Flashdance first came out, were you?
Right.
I don't think so.
God,
When
I'm
did it
so
come out? I don't know. I've seen it. I've seen it many
It's like
times. So I don't know.
1980s.
No.
Sorry, no, sorry, but I did grow up on it and I love it. And there's just a Flashdance
You got that
moment.
energy in there, yes.
It was literally on my bucket list. I don't even know how it fell into my lap. I was like, at some point in my
manifestation
professional
is
career, I'm
real.
going to have a Flashdance moment, and now I do. So that is number one, my favorite moment in this run. Obviously, because I'm in different numbers. And then my second favorite moment, I play Greedo every night. My little baby, I love Greedo. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a moment between Greedo and Han.
Well,
and
because
that
we're
is-
all waiting to see who shoots first. Yeah.
It's a more intimate moment, and that is my favorite. That is like my next favorite. Because also nobody knows it's me in there, and
I had no clue.
You guys should see my face in there. Also, that number makes me happy. On some days that I'm sad, I'm like in there and I'm like teary eyed because whatever happened in the morning, and then that number comes on and I'm like, how can I not smile right now? And
And it's so well done, and the audience just erupts. Do you remember? It's like, okay, we know who shoots first. Yeah.
Yeah, well, mine is not Han Solo. I love the Emperor number. I think that's my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I
It-
just get to
So because
be-
the show is so
whatever.
beautiful, and then it gets you ramped up, and then this literally just
Unhinged.
is like, let's all take a breath and let's get crazy. 100%. Like,
Yes.
what
For
the
sure.
hell is happening?
Sure.
It is so damn funny and so unexpected, and it's committed. And then I'm just gonna say Death Star. I don't want to ruin it for people, but that.
Yeah. Go see the show.
go see the show.
show.
You have to.
Yeah,
You
have
can't not
to,
go see the
because
show.
that
If
is
you can get a
literally my
ticket, it's playing
favorite.
till December 1st.
5 times a week.
The Empire Strips Back is where you can get tickets. But it's literally playing around the globe, too.
Yeah.
But you guys have a long run, October to December. That's a good chunk.
It's been beautiful.
We love.
So we have a lot of entertainment people that watch the show. So this will be our final question. And I want to talk about what your personal challenge has been in your artistry. So personal challenges as a comedian, personal challenges as a dancer or whatnot, and what you can share about that challenge and maybe give advice to other people.
Gotcha. I feel like you're looking at me to start. All right,
Okay.
cool. All right, right to left. All right, cool. Man, I think for me it's 3 words I started living by after I was in New York, came here. Embrace your process. I think for me, it allowed me to relax my shoulders and just embrace the changes, embrace the no's, embrace the things that aren't necessarily meant for me. And it's allowed me to just have fun and do my thing. And I feel like I'm going to attract what's for me. And I've learned to just kind of trust that. But to answer the question, I think was kind of what I talked about before, is that the challenge is just trying to find the balance and being a comedian and identifying myself in the comedy community, but also being able to still do this show. So it's trying to find the balance with all that. I'm glad to be back in LA now as my home base because I want to do more TV, commercial, film. So I'm just trying to get my foundation together and my website and all that stuff to speak my talents so that I can, have those opportunities that I know I want to get into next. So it's just finding the balance.
And it must have been difficult going through a 20-year relationship, having that end, and then being the funny guy.
Yeah. I started doing comedy within the relationship and the marriage, and it kind of took a toll. As all of you artists know, and I'm sure the artists listening, when you're in a relationship with someone who isn't in the industry, they don't necessarily understand it. They don't get it. It requires so much of you. You're so passionate about it. If you're an artist, you're sensitive about your shh. So it's all those things are important. But yeah, so starting over and you'll have to create a new identity for yourself. When you're in a long relationship, y'all identity is together. So now it's like I've got to relearn and teach myself things and be comfortable with who I am. Then try to make room and space for other people and to take time for others. So for me, it's been a whole reset in terms of just personally. This show has been very helpful in that process for me because I was fighting my entire relationship and life and marriage to get to a place where I could just do what I love on a full-time basis. So now I'm here, and I've also got to recreate Charlie's story. So it's been fun, and I'm grateful for the Empire to also have a part in that process.
And you're like butter on stage. You're just sweetening everything up. So good.
You know what? I'm glad that I've been working with the show for a year before I came to LA. So now that I'm here with my friends and contacts and, for these type of opportunities, I've got the show, a pretty good grasp on the show. And working with such beautiful professionals makes it that much easier to go out there and do my thing. And I know they're going to do their thing. And now it's just like the perfect chemistry.
Here's the weird thing about, so performing in New York or Chicago, people want you to be the best.
Yeah.
LA, they're like, entertain me. Isn't that weird energy?
God, I
isn't it?
said that. It's so hard to get people to come out in LA
and then they get there like,
show.
but then the show, and then you came on stage, and everyone's just like, yeah, okay, this is it. LA audiences are hard.
Oh yeah, they're like, ha ha ha. Come on, what's next?
Yeah.
Come on, move on. He's all right.
Yeah. Charlie, tell everybody where they can find and follow you.
Yeah, you can find me at your girlfriend's house more of the time. No, I'm just kidding. Find me at Charlie Wilson TV on Instagram. Charlie Wilson TV. It's Charlie Wilson TV on TikTok and other stuff. But Instagram is where I am most of the time. So I'll be posting other show dates. There's another show that I host. It's like a live game show called Bingo Loco. That's a lot of fun. It's like a rave party, but
Where
bingo.
is this?
It tours all over the world. My first show was in Vancouver, but I've done Chicago. I've done LA. It's a fun time as well. So as far as a night out goes, it's like bingo, but it's like a rave party too.
Well, you know what? Us gays love our bingo.
Yeah. The next show that I'll book in LA, the last one I did was SF, but if we do another one in LA, I would
100%.
definitely invite you 100%.
I have a few venues you could do that too.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk.
Come on,
Let's
get
talk.
cross over.
back.
Let's
Let's get it going.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers.
Cassandra, a challenge that you've been through and you worked through, and some advice you'd like to share.
I felt like when I was younger, I was really trying to fit a certain mold, of the industry, and I just was getting these roadblocks. When I really lent into what I like doing and the classes that I like going to, I felt like everything just started to fall into place. And I feel like it's just sticking to your values and morals will make you end up in the spaces that you should belong in. But yeah, that's my story.
And where can we find and follow you?
I'm at Cass Merwood on Instagram and TikTok. That's me.
And these teeth jewels are just sending me for something.
So cute.
Thanks.
I was like, you have a diamond in your. I'm like, oh no, there's a diamond there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it.
So cute. Thank you.
Yeah. My love.
Hi. I feel like my hardest thing, I grew up away from, I'm mixed, so I grew up away from the black side of my family the whole time. So my biggest thing for me now is really trying to find culture in dance, whether it be black culture or queer culture. So Mfundala is African
glad you said
style
that,
of
'cause-
dance. It is.
Thank you.
It was born in America, but essentially it takes from African roots and takes traditional African dance styles and puts them all into one place. Like many Black people in America, we don't actually know our heritage, where we come from. My family specifically, I know that we were brought over as slaves, and that's as far back as we can go. I did DNA tests. I know I'm Nigerian, but like other than that, that's as much as I have. So I've been trying to find my artistry through dance and like connect to, that part of my culture, to find it in myself in ways that like have been lost to, in the writings that were burned and never written down, or oral stories that I'll never get told. That's been my biggest challenge, and also my biggest like inspiration, I would say also.
And we're going to be told, I think, in the next couple of years to hide our heritage, to subscribe
Don't do
to
it.
something.
Don't do
and I'm
it.
not going to get political, but we have to embrace, because that's what makes America America.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the biggest inspiration I have is my teacher from school, Denzel Thompson Stout. Shout out to him. He brought it into my life, and it's
He
really
sounds hot.
been-
What's his phone number?
I'll give you his Instagram.
Is that like the hottest name, though? You get 3 names, like, oh, okay, you got it. Going on.
No, but he definitely has brought this, and even if he's not in all the spaces I am, he has been so good about pushing information and giving it to me on a silver platter to be able to dive into that. So I'm very thankful for that. Yeah.
I love this new generation. Look at this energy.
I don't know that we're all like this, but
Not. We've had some MTV people here, and it's like, okay.
Right.
Where can people find and follow you?
Hey, you can find me at Jazzy Gregory on pretty much every single platform: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I'm sure there's something else that I'm forgetting. Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter. I don't use it, but that's my username.
And are you single? Because I know I'm going to get emails.
I
She's on
am
the apps.
single.
But you didn't have time to date.
I'm more recently
Right.
single, but I'm here to have fun. If you want to be lesbian
Whoa.
best friends. No, okay, not like that. Jeez. I mean,
I mean, I know the Scissor Sisters are coming back on tour, but that's all down.
no, my mom is probably watching this right now. That's crazy. No, if you want to be best friends, I don't have friends in Los Angeles other than the people I've met in this job. So come hit me up.
Girl, I'm taking you to
go
the
out a
Abbey.
bar.
We're gonna do it.
Let's go
We're gonna
have
do it.
fun. Let's
Why
go
the
like
Yeah,
dance.
we're
I
gonna
just
do
want
it.
to party. So
Yeah.
hit me up
Done.
for sure.
Done.
At Jazzy
It's always
Gregory
that.
on all social media platforms.
Cool. Oh, okay. I would say the biggest hurdle for me to overcome is just what to do on the other side of getting exactly what you want. I got exactly what I moved here for, and I did exactly what I wanted to do. And then after that, I was like, oh shit, I didn't think about what I wanted to do after that. So I kind of went into like a depression a little bit, just because it's like it was such a big high, and then you're like, what's next? Like, you get people, oh, you just did this, so what's next for you? I don't fucking know yet. Like, let me get it together. Like,
Talk to me in a year.
Let me think about it. But nah, yeah, I think just getting over that and trying to find new ways to still be inspired by the industry, and not letting all the no's and all the things that come in our way to try and take us down get to me. But I'm on the other side of it now.
And that's a really good point. We as artists sometimes forget to just pause and pat ourselves on the back and be like, yes,
Give yourself
you
some
did
grace.
this. Yes, 100%. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, where can people find and follow you? What's your Grindr profile name?
I don't know that. Sorry, but
It's on Not So Solo.
you can find me at Jonas Suber 12 on Instagram. Connect the S's is only one S, and then I think the same thing for TikTok at Jonas Suber 12. So my number was 12 in basketball when I was younger, so it just kind of stuck.
Nice.
wow.
We love an even number.
Yeah, so that's why.
I thought it meant something else, but okay.
Oh.
Ew.
See?
I saw the Empire Strips
time to
Back.
go.
I
See,
saw
it's
what
time
was
to go.
happening. I was like, Jesus,
cheeky.
did they have to put extra fabric in that jock? I don't know.
Crank up the car. Crank up the car.
The Empire Strips Back plays until December 1st. If you're in Los Angeles, it's at the Ricardo Montalban Theater. Literally just go to theempirestripsback.com and go see the show and bring everybody you know, whether they're a Star Wars fan or not. It's such a great, great, great show. And that's our show. It's always a grab bag of fun here every time. Oh, I've had such a great convo. It's one thing when we see you guys on stage, And because we talked about the show afterwards, we're like, we just couldn't stop talking about it. And then to have you guys here, it's like, yeah.
Thanks for having us. Lovely to be here.
Of
Thank you so
course.
much for opening this table.
Of course. It's always a grab bag of fun here on The Rocks. A big thank you to our engineer and station owner, Tony Sweet. Please like, share, subscribe, so we can continue bringing this programming coming for free. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, stay sexy, and if you drink, stay tipsy.
Hey.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Love you guys.
This has been another episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.